In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to add a chart to this application. First, we need to install a couple of node packages. So in the terminal, npm install. One is chart.js, which is a very famous chart library written in plain old JavaScript. And then we're going to add angular2-chart.js. So this package sits on top of chart.js, and it defines a bunch of components that we can use in our Angular apps, like a pie chart component. You'll see that in a second. So let's install this, -- save. Now in VS Code, let's go to webpack.config.vendor.js and add these two node packages. So one is chart.js and the other is angular2-chart.js. Now back in the terminal, we run webpack. So webpack config webpack.config.vendor.js. All right, beautiful. Now we go to app.module. And on the top, we need to import a module. So import chart module from angular2-chart.js. And then we add it to the imports array here. So chart module. And by the way, we made a mistake earlier. So this universal module, as the comment says, should be the first import. So let's move this to the top. That's better. All right, so we imported the module. Now let's go to our admin page, admin.component. So here, I'm going to change the template and add the backtick character. Now with this angular2-chart.js module, we get a chart component that we can use in our templates. So chart, like this. Now we set the type to pi, and we use property binding to bind the data property to a property in our component. Now you can read the documentation for this angular2-chart.js module. You can see all the different types of charts that are supported and how to provide data for these charts. So I'm just going to show you a simple example. So here in the component, I'm going to declare data and set it to an object. This object is going to have a couple of properties. One is labels, which is the list of labels we want to display in our chart. So let's add 3 different makes of cars. Let's say BMW, Audi, and Mazda. The second property of this object is data sets, which is the actual data we want to provide to the chart. So here we have an array, and in this array we have an object. This object has a property called data, which is an array. So here I provide 5, 3, and 1. That means we have 5 BMWs, 3 Audis, and 1 Mazda. Now for this demo, I'm simply hard coding this data here, but in a real world scenario, you simply use a service to get this data from the server. So you simply need to build an API, use link to query the vehicles we have and group them by their make. It's pretty simple. Now optionally, we can also set background color. So here I pass an array with 3 color values. The first one is FF6384. Now, how do I know this? Because I have a cheat sheet in front of me. So don't think I have memorized all of this. Nobody memorizes these things. You always look at the documentation. The second color is 36A2EB. And of course, we need the hash sign here. And finally, FFCE56. Now let's look at the result. So if I go to the admin page, look, this is our beautiful chart. Now I leave it up to you to build the API to get the data for this chart because it's really repetitive and I don't want to waste your time explaining things over and over. So that's the basic of adding charts to our Angular apps.